Great. Congratulations on an amazing show. Thank you
you.
so much for being here. I'm Harper Waters, principal dancer with the Houston Ballet, and I'm joined by, if you want to introduce yourselves.
Yes, I'm Raffaele Morra. I'm the ballet master of the company.
And I'm Tory Dobrin. I'm the director of Ballet Trockadero.
Are there more? Okay, good. Well, I just thought we would dive right in and just say again, congratulations on what an amazing show. I think that we all needed that right now, right? That was so amazing to see and hear. But I just thought if both of you wanted to sort of tell us how you got involved and what was your journey to the Trocaderos and yeah, your first maybe impression of seeing the company and then how you got to sitting here.
All right. Yep. So I was working at the time in Italy, where I'm from. By the way, excuse my accent. I was dancing in a ballet company there, and there was at a moment in my life where I needed to change because, you know, an artist needs to always be encouraged to change and do something new. And the company came to Torino. And I decided to go, and I was there watching the show. And the audience reaction is what made me understand that that's what I wanted to do. Because the audience was just as great as you were tonight, because you were a great audience tonight. And, you know, hearing people leaving the theater and say, oh my God, I can't wait for them to come back because that was a wonderful show, made me realize that I want to be part of a company like that. Of course, I loved comedy, I loved classical ballet, and this was just a wonderful company for me to join. So I decided to join. In October 2000 is where I auditioned, and I joined in May 2001, and I've been a member of this company since then.
First of all, I want to say how incredibly thankful we are to be back here in Houston. I want to thank Society for Performing Arts, the executive director of Meg Booth, the staff here at the organization, and also the technical staff here is just absolutely top-notch. So thank you very much, and the audience as well for having us back. It's a real pleasure. I joined in 1980. It's so long ago, I don't remember why or how, but we actually did a very long tour to South America, and it was in the height of the military dictatorships, and the audience was the audience was great. The society was very, very repressive, and you could feel it in the street. And we came in as a group of male ballerinas, and the audience just went haywire. I actually think they thought we were the Ballet of Monte Carlo. And I think the society kind of could let loose with us, and it was the most incredible experience, and I got hooked.
I think one of my favorite aspects of the Trocaderos is how you're able to pair the amazing ballet technique with this sort of chaotic humor. And I'm interested if you have any insights to what the rehearsal process is like when you're rehearsing these ballets and when you think, okay, let me correct the ballet technique, and when is it like, let me inject a little bit more comedy, and how that rehearsal process works.
First of all, everyone has chaos in their mind, right? So what we're trying to do is mine that chaos so that it comes out in appropriate ways and appropriate times. When we're setting a ballet, we set it just like any other dance company sets it. And then the steps are important, the technique is important, et cetera, et cetera. All of these guys are good dancers, so that's not an issue. And then what happens is in the very easygoing rehearsal period, these guys are funny, and things just come out. What you saw tonight was not improvisation on stage, but you saw a lot of dancer contributions, excuse me. I'm suffering from the Italian accent there, sorry. They have a lot of freedom to express themselves in a variety of ways. And I think that's the important element of it.
When it comes to correcting, I really just correct the technique when it's there to be impressive. For example, when you see in a pas de deux a lot of turns, or even the ballerinas doing a lot of turns, that's impressive. So I want them to go and do more and more and more all the time. So I correct them in order to achieve more. And also when it becomes dangerous. So I try to help them so that they can support the comedy and let it go of their body on top of the technique. so they don't get injured. But that's it. Otherwise, they can go for it.
We do like the danger. You know,
No, but not physical injuries.
not physical injury.
That's what I mean.
But, you know, in Houston Ballet, American Ballet Theater, it's important that the girls are also controlled and tidy. We don't need to be controlled and tidy. We also have very strong legs and very much, girls have strong legs as well, but our legs tend to be bigger, and so they can really go for it without fear or of falling down. And if they do fall down, what do? They get up.
And smile.
Well, I think we can all agree they went for it tonight. We saw some incredible turns tonight. I was sitting with one of my best friends who's a dancer, and we were very impressed by those whip turns. So congratulations on achieving that. Kind of building off of that, you know, obviously, like you're saying, you have strong male dancers, but they're portraying these characters on stage, and I'm interested, how do they develop the sort of alter ego and the character as the female dancer? And is there sort of artistic liberty to say, like, I want to do this, or do you guide them? Or, because I love alter egos, you know, Beyonce, she's coming at the end of this weekend, she has Sasha Fierce, like, I would very much lean into that, but I didn't know if you guys are guiding them.
Some dancers need a lot of help, and some dancers don't need any help at all. And those dancers, you stay out of their way so that they can express themselves in the appropriate manner for what we do. The guys who actually need help, they're encouraged to look at the other dancers. They're encouraged that we explain to them exactly what their role might be, you know, depending on if it's a character, like in Walpurgisnacht, it's character-based. But we're not actually thinking of male, female roles. We think of roles. And you are this person doing that role in this costume for this effect. So it's not really a male-female thing. We don't want the audience to think that we're female. You didn't think anyone thought, did anyone think there were a bunch of girls on stage? No. And if you put a girl with them, you would clearly see that they were not girls, just because the musculature is very different.
Well, on the same thing. I think of art, you know, as neutral. A piece of art is a piece of art. La Gioconda, for example, is a picture. A picture itself has no gender, right? It's what is depicted that you might define a little bit more. You know, maybe La Gioconda you recognize as a woman, or if you see something else, you recognize as a male. But the actual picture has no gender. We are arts. So what we portray is what is important. So I portray the swan, I portray Odette, I portray the prince. It doesn't matter if I'm a ballerina, a male ballerina or a female ballerina, as long as I portray the swan in the right way, right? And I communicate with the audience the right way. For me, when I was a dancer, the hour and a half of makeup before the show was the one that was helping me to get into character, in understanding that I left Raffaele aside, and I became Lariska Dumbchenko. I was a risk and I was dumb.
I gave him his name, and that's not because he was dumb. It was just
But
a good
it
day.
matches.
It was just a good name. And Maya Dumbchenko was a new ballerina in the
yes,
Kirov.
No, I think it's really incredible what you're speaking about, and just as someone who, I was really inspired by seeing dancers who looked like me and represented who I was on stage, and so I'm curious what your thoughts are, and you can expand on what you just were talking about, just the importance of having a company like this in this landscape right now, and just what, how important it is to have dancers do the roles that they're doing on stage right now, and what that means for you and your company.
Well, the company has been doing that ever since the very beginning, you know? Without going out in the street, we have been representing freedom of being ourselves on stage and being able to represent what we want on stage and be who we are on stage. Also, like, if you are in the Corps de Ballet here in our company, you are not becoming a number like you are at the Paris Opera or any other really strict company where you need to think like the ballerina in front of you. We are free to be ourselves. And that has never changed ever since the very beginning of the company, and we're still strongly going for that. So for sure, it's very important that we continue to do that. And nowadays, it's more important, really, really more important. And we just want to continue to do it. We want to fight in our way.
Amazing. Okay, so the point shoes. I have some questions about the point shoes. What is that like as far as rehearsing and acclimating to dancers who maybe haven't trained in point or maybe haven't rehearsed in point shoes for the hours that you do? Just talk to me about the point shoes and what that's like with this company.
Well, they suffer when they first join, but now when they join, they come prepared. So what you have to get used to is just doing it all night long or all day long. You would only want to be in this company if you enjoy the idea of dancing on point. And actually, it's really fun to be on point. I mean, you've been on point, you know. You feel perched. It's a really great feeling.
Elevated.
So there's no problem with that. And we have the same problems that even, girls have, with bunions and injuries and stuff like that. But it's actually quite fun. And we also like to think of it like a tennis racket, which is a piece of equipment. And the men and the females go on court and practice, and they do the same exact strokes. And it's the same with us. Ballet is ballet, right? You learn the steps. The only difference is that a girl has to achieve something that we're not going for. We're going for the male attack on point. It's almost like blunt instrument point work. So with the strong legs that they have, it actually becomes a kind of tool to achieve more aggressive point work. So that's not really a problem for us. And they actually like it. I think they like it. I like it.
It looks like they like it. So.
Yes. Absolutely, we love it, otherwise we wouldn't be here for a long time. It's very painful if you want. What's very interesting, speaking about society again, is that probably when I joined, I was the last dancer, just like Tory was mentioning, that we got here without ever training on point. And the company said, okay, go for it. And then you learn how to dance on point. You must have a very good ballet technique in order to do it, but you don't need to have a lot of experience before. But at the time, when I joined even, teachers were not allowing male dancers to take ballet class on point, to take point class. It was really like frowned upon. It was like, why should you do that? You don't want to be ethereal, you don't want to be the sylph. There was not a concept of the male dancer being on point with an extra tool to go extra and over with their body, to experience more. Now, teachers allow it. That's an open-mindedness. Is that a word, open-mindedness? That it's very important for us, but for society to understand that a shoe is a shoe. There is no gender in wearing a shoe. It's okay if a male dancer wears a point shoes, and we can just go for it, and we can explore more. At the same time, our muscles get longer, because to be on point, we're much longer, so you have leaner leg, stronger ankle, all win.
Great.
I also want to say that I just lost track of what I wanted to say, but and I'll let it go.
If it comes
It'll be back.
It comes back. You got it. Well, you've toured the world with this company, being everywhere, and we love to have you here in Houston. And I'm just interested, what is the world response to your company? Are there cities that are really receptive? Are there ones that maybe aren't as great as Houston? What are your thoughts on just the international reception of your company?
The international reception has been great everywhere. Obviously, it's music and dance, and everyone likes that. There are a few countries that really are very sympathetic to what we're doing, and that's the English language countries, mostly because the tradition of music hall, the tradition of vaudeville, in the pantomime in the English language countries. So if you're talking about Australia, New Zealand, Canada, America, the UK, and also even Hong Kong and Singapore, all very wonderful audiences. But also in Asian countries, for instance, Japan, we're a big hit in Japan. And it's really interesting in Japan is because they have a really wacky sense of humor. The Japanese, I don't know if you've seen their sitcoms or their TV shows that are really wacky. They also love ballet, and you guys are going there, you said, in a couple of days.
Sunday, we leave 2 weeks.
Yeah, and they love ballet, and they have no problem with gender situations. They all know that everybody is gay on stage. They don't care. They really love the show. They're quiet during the show, but they applaud a lot, and so that's really great. And of course, we go to Europe a lot, and we're very popular in Europe and also in South America. So the one country that actually was a surprise is we've been to Russia about 3 times, and we were kind of nervous, especially for a variety of reasons, but the Russians really loved it, and they actually laughed at things. We have a teacher who comes into, and her name is Elena Kunikova, and she always laughs at certain things. She's Russian, and we're all looking at her like, what are you laughing at? And in Russia, they were laughing at the same things. So it was very cultural, and it was very interesting. Russia was a good hallmark for us.
What I also think is very important is that probably we understand it even more now is that we bring comedy, we bring laughters, we bring a light show. So everywhere we go, we break the ice because of our comedy, and the audience relaxes, and they are really enjoying everywhere we go. What is really helping us is also the fact that we have dancers, up until now, from all over the world. And we can see what they're laughing at, what their kind of humor is. So we can actually incorporate their style in certain moments so that everywhere we go, there is something that the audience appreciates and laughs at. So it's really enriching for us, the fact that we are a multinational company.
Well, we love you here in Houston.
Oh, yes.
Thank you for making us
Thank you.
laugh.
Thank you.
I thought at this point, if there's any questions from the audience, if you want to raise your hand and feel free to speak loudly so we can hear you. Yes.
I was so impressed that, in traditional male-female ballet, the guys lift tiny little ballerinas, and you guys are lifting big guys. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, so I think her question is, how do the men lift strong men?
And it's a simple answer. A strong man who is being lifted has strong legs and strong feet and knows how to jump, and the guy behind him has that help. Should we demonstrate now? Would you like? No, I'm just kidding.
You can, I will not.
I'm warm.
So that's not really a problem about our guys lifting other guys.
So it's hard to see who's who. You change the wigs and all of this. But is there an intention to go from scene to scene or whatever? You have a guy that is in point shoes, which is very taxing on your thing. And then I think I saw the next scene would have him not. So are you doing that intentionally to go from toe point shoes to not?
The question is, how do we organize the casting so that somebody doesn't die in the middle of the program? We are sensitive to it, but things happen, and we do understand what each role requires and each ballet requires, so we are very sensitive to it. But it's not really an issue, and that's all I have to say. We're sensitive to it.
And as a dancer, we love that. Yeah. Anything else? Yes, over there.
I loved everything. But my favorite scene was the scene with the circles.
Uh-huh.
And I was wondering what inspired that scene.
She was saying her question is that she loved the second ballet with the scene with the circles, and they kept stepping into the arms of the circles. And what was the inspiration behind that section?
Actually, did you guys like that ballet? Yeah. It only had its premiere 2 performances ago in Louisville, and we were nervous because it's a little bit out of our comfort zone. But thank you for saying that, and we're hoping that it will maintain itself in our repertory, and we'll have it for a while. The choreographer Sean Curran, who actually was in Stomp, the original Stomp, and he was in Bill T. Jones' company, and also was a champion Irish step dancer. Now he does a lot of directing operas, but he's had his own modern company for a very long time, and we put some of the guys on point so that they wouldn't have to go from flat to point, because normally it should all be on flat ballet slippers.
So we should ask Sean Coran what inspired him to do the circles.
He also
knows
is
his
a product of
choreography.
a little bit of a deranged mind, so maybe that was it.
Yeah, wonderful.
How old is your oldest and your youngest current ballet?
What a very cruel.
Oh my gosh, the age of a dancer. Wow.
The youngest is
19.
18, and the
Yes.
oldest is 50. Robert Carter has given us all of his adult life. He has joined at 20, and he is now 50. So, and he's doing great. He's done, if you have been to our show before, you have seen him in multiple roles. He's been in every ballet in our repertory, and he's doing great.
Yeah.
There's no reason why someone can't go on forever, as long as you want to. But it's the grind that wears you out, the touring, the staying in shape, the, whatever it is. But if you're enjoying yourself, hey, why not? And I think he is.
Yeah, if your body allows you, why not?
Is there any more questions? One last question? Yes, right here.
This may have already been addressed, but there's such dynamic facial expressions, eyes expression, and the expression of emotion, the emotions that carrying to the back. And I've watched a lot of ballet, I've seen you in particular, and there's a lot of very somber seriousness. So I was wondering, how do you coach someone on projecting that emotion out to the audience?
Our guys are, the question is, how do we, what was the question?
I think that, I noticed it. I commented to my friend during Swan Lake that how the dancers were using their face and their eyes in particular really were nuanced but impactful, and that it felt like they were really projecting, but it felt like it was coming from, I don't know, for me it felt very honest, and it didn't feel rehearsed, but almost I think that's the point, to rehearse so much that it feels like it's very natural. So I don't know if that's how it.
Well, the guys are funny guys, so they like to actually do those things. And what we're trying to achieve is more of a clown act, and it's not necessarily a classical ballet act. It's a completely different idea. And so, for instance, we also send out some YouTubes, like I think even yesterday or the day before I sent, Abbott and Costello doing Who's on First? I sent that to them, so that they could see the way the eyes are using, the smile, all of that. Burns and Allen's is great, Lucille Ball. So, and they're into it. It's not like, we're forcing them or coaching them. They're into this, and it is quite effective. And if we also give them face notes, like in Swan Lake when the person is standing on the side, I said, no, you got to have your face alive, and the reason why you would have your face is it depends on what your cheekbones are doing. So, use your cheekbones. And over time, that comes into their, plus, have you ever gone out in drag or in costume on Halloween? It kind of unleashes that inner lunatic. And you saw that tonight. So it really helps. Next time, Halloween, dress up, have a drink. You'll be surprised at your reaction.
But also, our movements are more exaggerated than regular ballet, and that helps. If I'm going more with my upper body, automatically I do more with my head and my face. It becomes natural. That's why it doesn't look rehearsed. It becomes natural with the movement. So I think that exaggeration helps to exaggerate.
But it's not natural.
No, we give it also facial notes.
It's not
of course,
natural.
as I say.
What you saw is not
But
natural, but
it
that's
becomes, It looks like it.
Well, you all have your homework to try drag tonight. Thank you so much for coming to the show, and thank you for staying for
Thank
this
you.
chat. Thank you both and have a wonderful night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You've been a great audience. Thank you.